Welcome back to another explainer, everyone. Today, we're taking a look under the hood of how massive development decisions are actually made. We're digging into a dense, but honestly incredibly important government notification from the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change. This one's dated August 6, 2026. Now, I know what you're thinking. Government notifications sounds dry, right? But this isn't just bureaucratic jargon. This is literally the blueprint for environmental protection in one of India's most heavily industrialized hubs, Gujarat.
I mean, just think about it for a second. With factories, infrastructure, and urban expansion moving at absolute lightning speed, who exactly holds the key to Gujarat's environmental future? Who gets to say, yes, build this, or no, block that, to protect the local air, water, and soil? Well, this single document reveals the exact group of experts vetted to make those massive calls. It's a huge responsibility, and we're going to see exactly how it's all structured.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Understanding the SAC. 2. Meet the key members. 3. Roles and responsibilities. 4. Ensuring fair play. 5. Significance and benefits. And 6. Conclusion. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. Understanding the SEAC. So, SEAC, what is it? It stands for the State-Level Expert Appraisal Committee. And listen, this isn't just some informal casual advisory board. Not at all. It was officially constituted by the central government in direct consultation with the government of Gujarat. And it gets its core legal muscle from the Environment Protection Act of 1986. You can really think of this committee as the ultimate expert environmental filter. Basically, before a major project can even break ground, it has to pass through the rigorous scrutiny of this exact team.
Now, the magic number here is 4. The notification clearly states this committee is appointed for a tenure of exactly 4 years, kicking off from the date the notification hit the official gazette. And why does that matter? Because it gives the state a fixed, stable period of dedicated oversight. It allows this team to really, sink their teeth into long-term environmental assessments without having to deal with constant turnover.
All right, moving on to Section 2. Meet the key members. What's really cool here is we can look past the legal text and put actual names and credentials to this task force. Leading the charge as chairman, we have Shri Devang Mahipatlal Thaker, bringing crucial leadership to the table. Then, the rest of the members bring some serious academic and engineering pedigree, which, absolutely validates the whole wisdom and experience requirement. For example, there's Dr. Jayesh Ruparelia, a professor and former head of chemical engineering over at Nirma University. We've got Prof. Dr. Nayan Jain, a former senior professor. There's also Dr. Khyati K. Modi and Shri Hitendra V. Mojidra as dedicated committee members. Oh, and this is key. Acting as the member secretary is a Class 1 senior environmental engineer straight from the Gujarat Pollution Control Board. So we're not looking at a group of politicians here. This is a highly specialized, heavy-hitting task force of academics and engineers.
Let's head into Section 3, Roles and Responsibilities.
So what do they actually do? Well, their jurisdiction is massive, but it's also very carefully defined. Legally, the SEAC appraises or reappraises all proposed projects across Gujarat. We're talking chemical plants, large real estate developments, factories, the whole shebang. But there is one very strict exception. They do not appraise mining projects. Mining actually falls under a totally different regulatory umbrella, which leaves this AOC sharply focused on industrial and infrastructural development.
Now, I want to highlight a specific phrase from the document. The committee must function on the principle of collective responsibility. Basically, the chairman has to try and get a consensus on every single case. They really want these experts to all agree. But let's be real, if they can't reach a unanimous decision, the rule of law steps in and says the majority vote wins. And that makes sense, right? It keeps the gears turning, so massive projects aren't just stalled forever by one single dissenting voice.
And this leads to a brilliant illustration of how the system separates powers. The SEAC doesn't just rubber stamp a final binding approval. Nope, they act strictly as an advisory filter. They review the project, they make their expert recommendations, and then those recommendations get passed up the chain to the state-level Environment Impact Assessment Authority. That authority is the one making the ultimate final decision. It's a really solid built-in check and balance.
Next up, Section 4. Ensuring fair play.
Look, when you're dealing with billion-dollar developments, the risk of bias is always going to be a huge concern. So the government laid down 3 incredibly strict conflict of interest steps to build public trust. Step 1. Every single member must openly declare any consulting organizations or project proponents they're associated with. Total transparency. Step 2 is an absolute ban.
During their 4-year tenure, they literally cannot consult on or help prepare environmental impact assessments for any project they'll be reviewing. And step 3, this is the strictest of all, if a member provided consulting services to a specific developer anytime in the last 5 years, they are legally mandated to recuse themselves entirely from meetings about that developer's new projects. Talk about keeping things impartial.
Which brings us to Section 5, Significance and Benefits.
So, why does all this bureaucratic structure actually matter to you, your local environment, or the daily life of citizens? The big takeaway is that these rules create a highly protected bubble for decision-making. The state gets 4 solid years of dedicated expert oversight. Those strict rules we just talked about actively prevent conflicts of interest, making sure that cold, hard science, and not just money, drives development. Plus, that mandate for collective responsibility ensures decisions are balanced and consensus-driven. And to top it all off, the government explicitly guarantees full financial and logistic support. We're talking a dedicated secretariat, accommodation, transportation, meaning these experts are fully empowered and resourced to do their jobs without any outside interference.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 6, Conclusion. Ultimately, what this whole August 2026 notification represents is the pursuit of a vital, delicate balance. Obviously, Gujarat needs essential development to keep thriving economically, but that cannot and should not come at the cost of the ecosystem. These 6 specific individuals hold a massive responsibility over their tenure. They act as a steadfast shield, protecting the local air, water, and land, while simultaneously figuring out how to let safe, sustainable projects proceed.
Which leaves us with this final thought. With these strict rules, deep expertise, and solid anti-corruption measures firmly in place, how exactly will this expert committee shape the landscape of Gujarat over the next 4 years? It's going to be a fascinating space to watch, and honestly, a great real-world example of environmental governance in action. If you found this explainer helpful in breaking down these complex topics, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay informed on more fascinating topics just like this one. Thanks so much for learning with us today.